Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome to the final part of the Comic Zone commentary as we enter Episode 3, The Curse of the Dead Ships. But yeah, in layman's terms, this is basically where we start reaching the end of Sketch's comic book, and indeed, well, where I suppose the base of Mortus's operations were intended to be. But yeah, basically, I mean, not that, okay, Mortus does technically need to kill Sketch in order to become flesh and blood, and, yeah. As you're gonna be learning, because, on top of many other things, Comic Zone also has alternative endings, yeah, you're gonna learn that basically Mortus wants to bring all this shit inside the comic book into the real world so he can rock this world, dude! And that's pretty much his master plan. But yeah, the game is also getting tougher by the third episode. If you remember episode 1, yeah, when these snot balls first appeared, yeah, they could barely land a hit on me, but now, well, they're kinda kicking my ass. So yeah, that's why we're pretty much left up shit creek and having to use our tongue as a paddle in this case. Punch, 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 fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, pew! But yeah, something unique to this level in and of itself also, well, not exactly this part, but at least towards the end, is that, yeah, it's one of the few times that Alissa actually comes to help us out. So, yeah, no longer is she relegated to the radio operator, although you soon start to see why Mission Control shouldn't start getting involved in, well, military pursuits, unless of course they have, you know, combat-capable people to back them up. Although, then again, that does also sort of tie in towards the ending of this game, which we'll get to when we get to, of which there's, technically 3. The bad ending can technically bypass, to get past this thing, basically feed it roadkill, in more ways than one, and punch it. It doesn't take off health, which I'm kinda surprised the game was lenient there, but, yeah, until it gets a case of bonus eruptus, yeah, then you pretty much progress to the next page and leap out of the comic as you go from one panel to another, in a very cool little detail. And I forgot what I was talking about earlier. Thank God I didn't take off a lot of health, because it still registered the damage from the creep, and not the explosion. Otherwise, well, Sketch, I'm imagining, would probably be a little bit, extra crispy, dude! Delicious power slam! But, in any case, though, in lieu of, the tangent that I forgot, thank Nominee, yeah, basically, a little, funny anecdote, actually, when, you know, the Sega Technical Institute pitched this to Sega of Japan when they started showing it off to them. Yeah, the Japanese team basically called Comic Zone everything wrong with American culture. And how did the Sega Technical Institute, a group of American developers, take this? They took it as a compliment. And that attitude does actually become very prevalent when you remember that, you know, a lot of these people were the same guys who worked on, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic 3, Sonic & Knuckles, and Sonic Spinball. And, yeah, kind of not something really highlighted by the history books, but, the Japanese team, particularly Yuji Naka, were actually quite racist towards the American team, so yeah, I can't imagine that there was a lot of love between, you know, these two sides of the teams, primarily because, well, yeah, and there are a few anecdotes of, you know, the sorts of examples that, you know, Sega of Japan were, you know, at least Sonic Team of Japan were, you know, while working with the Sega Technical Institute. One story specifically actually comes with, you know, future Spyro the Dragon artist Craig Stitt, where he designed what was meant to be a sidekick character for, you know, Sonic to have. Again, as history pans out, we all know that Tails ended up being the, you know, Kitsune Fox who would eventually becomes Sonic's little buddy, and of course it has to fucking lag when I'm telling a fucking story. Yeah, power slam is what I say to that. But in any case, Craig Stitt, an American, who was, you know, a member of Sega Technical Institute of America at the time before moving to Insomniac, yeah, he basically designed a fast-moving turtle who, you know, had jet boosters. The Japanese team denied this, and I guess went for the more Japanese kitsune design out of spite? Question mark? But yeah, you wanna know what turns up as an enemy in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 around about the time of Wing Fortress Zone? A turtle with rocket boosters. Oh, I see what you did there, Sonic Team. Gonna blowing yourself up there, like I did, as I try to cover up my death. But yeah, you use roadkill to pretty much flip that switch twice, and bada bing, you do the thing. Well done, Turner, oh yeah. And that's the story. But yeah, other examples of the Sega Technical Institute, apart from just sort of feeling that, you know, oh, those American gaijins are inferior game designers, Yeah, but during the development of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, while Yuji Naka and his team were trying to keep most of them the hell away from you know, the main series Sonic games, they basically tasked them to work on Sonic Spinball. Because, fuck it, why not? You work on the shitty games while the superior Japanese Imperial Army can work on fucking a game we designed for American audiences. Because, you know, that makes a lot of sense. It's sort of like making a Captain America movie for the fucking... the fucking Chinese Imperial Army. Well, in any case, facetiousness aside though, yeah, this frayed relationship, it's not just something I'm bringing up as a bit of an idle anecdote, yeah, there is also the factor that the Sega Technical Institute, as their last game, was working on Sonic Extreme, while Sonic Team were busy with Burning Ranges and Nights, and, yeah, Comix Zone was technically the last finished game they completed, but, you know, they were working on, you know, the next main series Sonic game. That is up until, well, again, a lot of fucky development that, you know, isn't really to be gotten into here as we talk about Comix Zone, but, yeah, basically the end result of, you know, Sonic Extreme being cancelled basically meant that, well, yeah, you know, not only was there no new Sonic game, but the Sega Technical Institute disbanded, and, one of the last things I actually had pitched before as a, you know, something that we're going to develop after Sonic Extreme was actually a sequel to Comix Zone. And there is actually some surviving concept art that I'm going to be posting right about here. And yeah, as you can see, they basically pitched it to be a 3D style beat-em-up game. I guess something that was probably going to be similar in nature to Fighting Force with, you know, some of the comic book aesthetics and I suppose some of the more puzzle-based aesthetics that we're seeing here. But again, after Sonic Extreme, you know, Sega Technical Institute disbanded, and nothing ever came of it. So that's yet another reason why I'm glad that Sonic Extreme not only was cancelled, but will never see the light of day again, and it's quite frankly kind of aggravating, because on top of... nothing, just... forget it. Sonic Extreme. A game that probably should never have existed and went through more revisions than Resident Evil 4. But anyway, I'll get into that when I eventually decide to review Sonic Adventure. Should be... You know what, I am going to make it the first review of this year. I mean, I know the game like the back of my hand, so I should be able to get a script out pretty quick smart, so... Here's hoping, really. But in any case, so, yeah, I'm not really too sure what to do here, so basically it was just sort of a case of... detonate the bomb so I can... bomb the base. And that'll pretty much be the end of it. Kerblamo! But yeah, this is also a case where you do really need to sort of, be careful and, pay attention to these bombs. Yeah, again, in this case it's basically easy as just, like, remove the thing, but, in other cases it was, you know, I wasn't really too sure of what I could do. Unless maybe I needed, like, one of those, little grenade explosives. Grenade explosives, the same, well, not the same thing, but whatever. Tautology, it's completely fucking baffling, really. In this case, though, I tried to use roadkill to get it out of the way, but, you know, explodey things are very ouchy, so, yeah, I really just sort of had no choice but to use a paper plane to detonate a bomb. Only in comic books, ladies and dudes, but, yeah, in any case, so that's pretty much all she wrote. I guess to sort of talk about anything else related to the game, or at least even vestigially, Howard Drossen, apart from the fact that this game very much seems to be his baby. Yeah, the man does also have a bit of a history as a composer, not just for video games, since he did also do some work on the Sonic & Knuckles soundtrack and, you know, Comix Zone, obviously, and a few other video games while, you know, under Sega's employ. Yeah, but in turn, he actually went on to become a fairly successful film composer. He composed scores to, Blade Trinity, actually, which, again, bit of a shitty film, but music was pretty fucking good, and, yeah, he would actually eventually return to Sonic with Sonic and the Black Knight when he composed one of the, I think it was the Dragon's Cave, track for that game, or I might be thinking of Tommy Talrico. But either way, Howard Drossen is a sick-as-hell composer, and unlike Tommy Talrico, he doesn't lie and bullshit his way about his accomplishments. He lets his resume speak for himself, and on top of that, well, again, I mean, I kind of said it in jest earlier, that if Comix Zone is basically Sketch Turner's self-insert fanfiction comic book, then this Comix Zone is Howard Drossen's self-insert video game, and I mean, honestly, like, I mean, one or two issues aside, what a fucking video game to have as your legacy, dude. There we go, using enemies to destroy the evil and hazards in your way. But I mean, if I can't say anything else, I do genuinely like that aspect about Comix Zone. Like, you know, it does actually get you to think about, you know, what things, you know, you could use in your environment in order to, you know, bypass, not just during combat, but in turn, you know, items lying around. And, there are one or two aspects where I do sort of wish that maybe everything that you needed to complete a puzzle was in the room. You just needed either, you know, to utilize roadkill in order to, you know, figure out what items you needed to get, or perhaps, you know, just sort of explore around and find out what things you need to break, or, you know, smash open in order to figure out what you need to do. But I mean, all that aside though, the game does have a lot of examples of, you know, putting, you know, the puzzle pieces right there in front of you. It's just a matter of trying to figure out, you know, how to get past it. Even with a few fake outs like this, you see that switch up there that I thought was what I was meant to grab, but, no. Broke open the box, use the explosive, and, bada bing, you do the thing, blow open the door, and from there pretty much lies the final boss, so, yeah, apart from making a little bit of a whoop-de-doodle. Ah! Okay, just got my giggles under control, because I just got jump scared by my own fucking cat while I was distracted doing commentary. You know, what you heard was probably the first genuine scream I've ever had that wasn't from a fucking horror game. I can't believe I fucking screamed like an absolute bitch because of my adorable little companion, who just went outside and then decided to come back in and, give me a wee bit of a fright, but, sorry, that was just funny. There was a bit of a pause between now and then, not that you'd probably notice thanks to editing, but, I don't know, I just had a serious case of giggles from the fucking ridiculousness of the situation. Oh, roadkill, find us any items. Good job, you're the best. But yeah, this is pretty much the final boss fight of the game. A half-finished page that's pretty much only sketches, true to his name, and, yeah, here comes Alissa just sort of jumping in from nowhere and, trying to defuse the nuke. But yeah, now that his plans are pretty much going awry, yeah, here comes Mortus back into the comic book to imprison Alissa, and this is probably the most bullshitty part of the game, which is kind of a disappointment. Not necessarily to defeat Mortus, although I could be in better healthy straits in order to do this, but yeah, basically, yeah, that, you know, that nuke is filling up with rocket fuel, and if that fills up to the top, Alissa dies, and you get the bad ending. Then again, also, if you happen to die from Mortus himself, you die, and then he pretty much escapes into the real world. So yeah, beating out Mortus, again, he does have a fuckload of health, but what you're meant to do is just lure him down, you know, into the completed rocket exhaust, and then pretty much, you know, blast him with a switch to deal massive damage. But yeah, again, as I said, doing that in the time it takes before, you know, Alissa drowns, and by the time that chamber fills, she pretty much drowns immediately, so, yeah, fuck that. Yeah, you have a very tight time limit, and again, if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, well, yeah, I mean, luring Mortus down here can be a bit of a pain in the ass at the best of times, but, yeah, just keeping him trapped right where you can deal the most damage to him is just, irritating, really. I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but it's just, I don't know, maybe if they kind of give you a bit of a grace period, like the chamber fills up, but then you have like a little Alissa health bar that sort of drains, you know, kind of similar to Tomb Raider, or, I guess to use another Sega example, Streets of Rage 3, where, you know, again, if the chamber in the police station fills up with gas, you have time to save, you know, General Ivan / the police chief. I don't know. I mean, either way, I pretty much die around about the same time as Alissa anyway, so, whoopsie doodle, but you will be seeing all three endings of the game anyway, so, you know, there is, you know, method to my failure. Hang on, if Mortus is inside the comic book, then who drew the Exxon sketch? Or, wait, is there technically a him in the real world? I thought he jumped into the... Whatever, the point is, he's in the real world now, the comic book burns up so that nobody can ever stop his plans. And now he's gonna rock this world, dude! But yeah, meanwhile in an alternate universe, yeah, Alissa drowns, and, well, that's pretty much the end of the schedule. And yes, you do actually need to, you know, flick the switch before everything explodes, because otherwise, well, here comes Sketch. Mortus is dead, but so is Alissa. Oh, Roko's still alive though, so that's good. But this is hardly an outcome worth celebrating. Will Sketch unleash the evil once again? Well, yeah, unleashing a world of ultimate evil or waifu. Yeah, I don't blame Sketch. I'd turn to the waifu as well. 'Cause I'm a loser. And meanwhile, in a third alternate universe, oh god, he's got his waifu together, and they pretty much escape happily. Sketch succeeded, and his waifu is now also flesh and blood. Oh, I guess you actually had a choice to join him. Oh, it's quite nice. Well, then again, what would you do if your whole existence was fictional and you decided to choose to... Yeah, quite strange. But yeah, now we also get a little, you know, a little addition to this, as well as learning a bit about where are they now? Sketch became a successful comic book artist with his comic selling major issues, Alissa joined the military, and, yeah, she's working for the United States, and Roadkill even gets a lot of cheese. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Until Comix Zone 2, but that game is cancelled, so... fuck. But in any case, yeah, this is Comix Zone. The track you're listening to right now is What Was the World by Howard Drossen. And again, Comix Zone. Really fun game, included on most Mega Drive game compilations, particularly the most recent one, which is Sonic's Sega Mega Drive Classic, so yeah, I do recommend you pick that up if you want to get your fix of Comix Zone action. And yeah, really fun puzzle beat-em-up. Quite hard in a few places, but ultimately, I think it's actually really quite a fun game. I recommend you give it a play, it's quite fun and enjoyable. Soundtrack's pretty fucking rocking, and again, its technical aspects are probably some of the best that Mega Drive can produce. And I mean, next to Vector Man 2, probably one of the best games, you know, for a console that was pretty much on the way out by 1995, 1996, so yeah, good on them. Oh, there was a lot more voice actors than I thought. Oh well. In any case though, in terms of future commentaries, coming up next shall be Freelancer for the PC. A space combat game that I'm really looking forward to covering, and will probably be the next major game I'm going to be covering before Kingdom Hearts 3, so yeah, it's going to be a little bit more story, a little bit more action-packed, and well again, might be different from some of the things I've covered on this channel, but I hope you enjoy it. I'm a sci-fi fan, and I hope you are too, so yeah, catch you dudes and dudettes later, and as we enjoy this sick-ass guitar riff, I'll leave you with Howard Drossen and this song, and in the meantime, I'm gonna go get some dinner. So, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, this is Chaos the Cat, she gave me a jump scare, which will probably be the most memorable thing about this commentary, and I'll catch you dudes and dudettes later. Peace out.